Hello again. So in this lecture, I will be talking about more on sculpting, and I'll try to show you the ways that you can sculpt a model. So here, what you can see, it's sculpting section. We can select the model that you want to sculpt and go to sculpting section. And here you find different types of brushes. This is draw sharp, draw clay, and clay strips. These are the clay strips and clay are very useful, and draw also is very useful. The other ones, you need them in different situations. So crease is also very helpful. Smooth is very helpful. We have fill, flatten is also useful. Pinch is very useful. These are kind of also useful, but not that much. And we also have grab. Grab is very helpful. And we have these things. Actually, you have to try. And this is also for sculpting clothes. When you make a character or whatever. And this is mask. Mask is very helpful because sometimes you want to mask some part of your object that you are sculpting. So these are also multi-resolution displacement smear. This is also very good, and these two things are very good, and we will be talking about when we are talking about multi-resolution modifier when we are adding to our objects. So this is smear paint and mask, box mask, lasso mask, line mask. These are good, and we actually need them and need mask very much, and we will be using it a lot during sculpting. Box height, yeah, sometimes we will be using it. It's not that much. And mesh filter is very great. We will be having different things that we can do at once. And we have these things: scale, move, rotate, and transform, and again annotate. So these are the brushes, and they have different characteristics, and these are the settings for the brushes. So this is the radius. This is if you want to make the radius of the brush bigger. But what you can do, you can just hit F and make it smaller or bigger. So F here is you hit just F, can make it smaller and bigger instead of coming here every time. So and for this is the strengths, how powerful, how much when you pressure, the pressure, you don't have pressure because in this case I'm using a mouse, but here in this case when you're using a tablet, it depends on the pressure that you are putting it on the surface of the tablet. But here I'm using mouse, so it doesn't work. So here you just use the strengths, how much strength you want. So how do you, with the keyboard shortcut Shift F, you change the strength of the brush. So yeah, just like that. So this is plus and minus. This means when you are stroking with this, you are adding something, but when you are minus, you decrease it, so you're removing it. So this is the brush properties. You're doing some things. You will not be using these things a lot, but sometimes you need these settings. But these ones are very useful. The radius, the normal radius, the hardness, and the auto smoothness, the plane offset, the plane trim, tip roundness of the brush. So these are just like, the characteristics of the brush. How do you want it? And you also need sometimes texture. I'll be talking about more in a minute. How to add new texture, how to choose different textures for things and the mapping of the textures. And this is the stroke. Whenever you stroking, just like your brush, this is the characteristics. So we have dots, drag, dot, space, airbrush, anchored line, and curve. These are very, very useful, and it's something that you have to keep in mind that we have these also. You have to play with it so you can learn what they are doing, and they are very useful. And this is the fall off. This the tip of the brush, and just like that. You can also have custom ones. You can make your custom brush or whatever, and you may want to do something like that or whatever. I mean, it depends on what kind of brush you want. You can make different things. Yeah, and this is the cursor. Almost never you'll be using it. These are also very, very important. It's mirroring. So mirroring across X, Y, or Z axis. So for example, we will be having two brushes, and on the x-axis x minus and x plus, and y at the same time too, and z. So you will be having a lot of mirroring from each side. So here I'm deleting all of this, but if you take a look here, you see that nothing changed. Nothing. It's like almost nothing. Only 1 point. It's because we don't have enough geometry. It's like 1 vertices, 2 vertices, 3 vertices, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertices. So you are not going to sculpt anything with this. So what are we going to do is like don't do this. I just want to have a normal. Okay. So you come here, you do this, nothing happens, right? It's almost nothing. But when you come here to remesh, you remesh it. This is the settings you play with. This has 8 vertices. That's why I'm not changing anything. So after the remesh is done, nothing has changed. You can see that nothing has changed. But in fact, something has changed, and it is geometry. Now we have a lot of geometry to play with. So for example, now I use this brush, right? It's called clay brush. Clay strip brush. Now you have this, but now you want to sculpt, so you have more geometry to play with, right? But if you decrease more, for example, this much, it's not that much, for example 0.5, and remeshed again, you'll see that you have more geometry now. If you sculpt, it will be like that. So you can add more details to your object. But now, let's talk about the texture, the things that you're going to do. The round tip, the tip roundness is amazing because you will be having this kind of effect. It's like more roundish. Now, I advise you to play with these things and see what's going to change. And this one, this is the add. If you change it, this is a minus. But how do you do it? So if you are doing it here, then here, it will be like different ones, right? And then you're doing it, for example, increase the brush. It's like minus, right? Because we've chosen minus. But now, if we so now if we do that in one stroke, it will be adding some geometry to our object. But now when you hold control, it inverses it. So like, hey, you will be having a dent in your geometry. And now this was about this, and let's talk about please play with these things and find out what's going to happen, because the more you play with it, the more you learn. Instead of me explaining everything to you, it's actually better for you to practice it. So So now what we are going to do, we are adding a texture. So far we haven't talked about this section. This section is very, very useful, and there are so many things that you can change and make impact on your object. So here is the tool. This tool changes. These things will change whenever you are in sculpting mode or texture painting. It will be changed, but in the layout and modeling it will be the same, and it won't change that much. But in sculpting, we have these different settings, and the most important ones will be here again. Dynamic topology is very, very important too, but this one actually is for more detailed stuff. So sorry for that. For dynamic topology is like when you add your tertiary details to your object, you will be using this, because this one is very destructive to your model. It's like destroying the topology of your object. So whenever you stroke, it slows slows your computer down. And why it's very big, it's not like very detailed, it's because the dynamic topology, the pixel detail size is big, and you can change these things, but so it's basically like that. And I advise you not to use this very much, because it will slow down your computer. It will kill your computer, and you'll lose, sometimes you'll lose all of your hard work. So don't use it. I will not advise you to use this because it's a little bit destructive, and it slows your computer it slows your computer down, and don't use it. Anyway, you will have symmetry here again, and you can change this settings, and this is also symmetrize. Symmetrize is very important because it will symmetrize from -x to -2x. So right now you can see that my computer is jammed. Yeah, but now it's been symmetrized, and you'll be using it a lot when your model loses symmetry. But it's not that much. You'll be using it, and the brush settings also, again, these settings are here, but you can also change the settings here too. And this is the brush that you are using. And let's go to the brush settings. Now we've talked about the texture. So what is the texture in this panel? We've talked about that this tool will be changed in some other sections. But this one is also important, is the rendering section. This is for rendering. When you render your model, you will be having different settings here that you want to change. You may not know what's ambient occlusion, bloom, depth of field, screen space reflection, motion blur. These things takes time, and yeah, you will learn. I will promise you that you will learn. Just be positive. There's so many things to cover. I mean, I cannot cover everything in a 2-hour long course, but until you finish your model, you don't need this section. But you have two different important rendering engines. It's called Eevee and Cycles. They are very Cycles more realistic, but it's more like not real time, and Eevee is like more in real time. And the workbench is just like for working. It's not that important. So we will be talking about more about this when we will be talking about rendering section. So this is also the format of my rendering. Where do I want to render my images, or do I want an image JPEG, Targa, BMP, or AVI, JPEG, or FFmpeg PEG video? And this is the different compression and the depth of color and metadata, what I want to include in these things. And the post-processing frame range, from what frame until to what frame I want to render. and the format setting. So I want it to be 240 frames per second. I want it to be 4K, 2K, 1K, 750, 720p, or whatever resolution you want. You can change it here. I mean, you in this section viewer, I don't know. I barely use it. I don't use it a lot, but there are sometimes you need to see something and change some things. Is you want to see these things. You will just check them to see them. So it's not very common section. And also this one, I barely use them, and they're not very. You will not be. I guarantee you will not be using these things a lot. So, but this one you will be using it. This is the world section. I have this SDRI. So, for example, we have a background, so we can choose different things. Instead of a background, I can choose just only one color or something else. But now I've chosen this image from my computer. I will tell you how to add that when we are in shading. And these are the volume, mist pass, and different types of settings that you want to change. This is a collections. For now, I don't think it's very useful for you. This is also very important, this section. It tells you a lot about the object and different types of things that you really want to play with. And maybe you will find your art, some kind of settings here that you really want to. And so sometimes, for example, you need your cube to be in all wire frame. You don't want it you don't want it to be in solid mode or whatever, or you just want to show the name of the object, the axis, the wireframe, all the edges. I don't know, it's not visible now. So sometimes you have bones for your character and you want them to be in front of the character. So sometimes you want to you will be using an object to cut another object in Boolean modifier. You will want to have this object to be seen as a wireframe. So this is it for this section. This is the modifiers. In this version, the way modifiers look is different because they have been grouped in edit, generate, and the form of physics. And here it's been different now. But we have different things. Data transfer. This is for transferring data from one object to another. Mesh cache, mesh const cache, normal edit, weighted normals. So these are the things you will be using them, but not that much. These are the things that you will be using them. This is array. This is bevel. This is boolean. These are very useful. Decimate. That's very important. Mirror is very important. Multi-resolution modifier is very important. Remesh. It's not that important because we will be using remesh in another way. Screw modifier is very important. Skin modifier, solidify modifier, subdivision modifier, triangulate. These are important ones you can play with and find out what's going on. So the harder you try to learn it, the better, because you have to find ways. For example, whenever you don't know something, how it works, you just Google it. I mean, it's super easy. Sometimes you don't know how Boolean works, okay? So you just say how to use Booleans in Blender. In 1 minute, you will learn how to use Booleans. So it's super simple, super easy. But what I want you to do is just go through all of them and find out how they are working. try to use them. Maybe you don't need them in your process, in your work, maybe in next month when will be working in your project. But I advise you to use all of them and find out what's going on here and how they are being used. And these are also very important: displace modifier, crust modifier, lattice modifier, shrink wrap, simple deform. They are the wrap and wave. They are very important. The physics, these are also very, very important, because sometimes you are making a close simulation, collision, these things. Actually, when you are making particle system, sometimes also it makes you a modifier here, and also the physics too, because most of them are related to this modifiers we've just seen here in physics tab. And yeah, so that's basically it. And now we have constraints. Constraints are also very, very helpful in case of animation and rigging. It's very, very important, but it's a lot to cover. So you will be learning them. I'll promise you that you will be learning them very easily. You just have to. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you to go and play with them, because it doesn't work this way. You have to learn them in detail. It's not like one step use. It's involved more than one step or two step. It's more than two steps. So, but they are very useful. It's like for motion tracking, transform, and relationships to one another of objects. So these are data of the cube, the vertex, the key shapes, the UV map, color attributes, and these things are very important. So the normals also very important, because sometimes you will be having some editing issues. So for example, here, now you see that you have these bad looking normal, so you want to shade it, right? Auto, you will be smoothing it out, and auto smooth shading. And what I'm talking about here, I will just add another object, Shift A, add for example a cube, but now you want to shade it, right? It gives you this problem, it's ugly as fuck. So what you're going to do, come here, auto smooth the normals. You will normal out the shading problem. But now Blender added this one, shade flat again. We will be shading it flat. Now, instead of shading smooth, Blender added shade auto smooth, which automatically auto smooths it. So it's just like that. You don't need to come here and check this on. And yeah, so you also, I forgot to mention about this. These are also very important to change. So sometimes you change this to curve or mesh or whatever. And this is very important. Set origin, because sometimes your origin, for example here, okay, not here, and set origin to, for example here, and now this object's origin is somewhere else. It's not inside the geometry, or it's not where you want to be. And now when you're rotating, it will rotate around the origin. But now what you're going to do, for example, you want to use it to change the origin as this. For example, you want it to be you want the origin to be inside the geometry. You will just check that. And for example, you want the other way around, so you want the geometry to go to the origin, so it will be just like that. So it's also very, very important to remember that. And this is Shift S. Shift S is also very important. For example, I want this cursor to go back to the center of the world, so Shift S, cursor to the world origin. So now it's placed. Now this set origin, geometry to origin, origin to geometry. So we will be Shift S, selection to cursor. So this is selected and it went back to the cursor. So let's go back to, this is the material section. We'll be more talking about this in shading and painting. But here, what we are talking about in the sculpting mode is like texturing, right? We want a texture for our mesh. So instead of just sculpting with this and tip roundness, okay. So instead of sculpting, with this boring looking, it has no texture on it, okay. So you want to add a texture. So what you are going to do, you come to texture section for brush, okay. For brush, we add a texture, we add new, and a new texture will be made, and you will change the type of the texture. For example, you want cloud, distorted noise, or whatever these kind of textures come with Blender, so you don't need to buy them or whatever. But there are so many other textures that you will buy for example, when you are sculpting a character, you want skin pores, or you are making your skin pore textures, and you will be using them. So now we have this, and the intensity is like, I want to be very intense, for example, or you don't want it to be very intense. It depends on you. But now you will see that the texture is changed. So I'm sculpting Voronoi texture on my mesh. So it's basically like that. But another way I want to change this, for example, the roundness of the tip, I want it to be round. I don't want to have a very sharp edges. And I also want to change the stroke type from space to anchored. So anchored is very nice. So it's just for like that. Okay, it's very nice that you have this kind of texture. And what you're also going to do here, for example, you want to add more roundness to the tip of your brush. So another way, if you are adding too much, you will be having less geometry. Less geometry will be affected. I mean, it's a little bit, but now when the tip roundness, you can also have the hardness at the same time. So it will be like hard and rounded tip at the same time, but I've never used this way. It doesn't make any sense to use it. And please play with these settings and add your own texture. Play with these things too. Maybe you want to change the intensity to something like that, and then you will get this very intense shape, looking shape. And maybe it's very useful sometimes. Or you just want to change it to noise texture, and then now you will be having another type of kind of noise. So maybe you want to decrease, you want to have skin looking pores or something like that. And that's enough with this textures. And I think this is also enough for sculpting. And what I want you to do is to go around and play with these different settings. And in here, whenever you want your brush back, you just get rid of everything, add new, and now you have your own brush again, but it is a different brush. It's not the clay brush anymore. Here you have this one, okay, but you want to clay shapes, you will choose the clay shapes again. And now not this one, So this is kind of weird clay brush that you can get, and so this is basically it, and hope to see you in the next lecture. So please spend at least 2 hours, 3 hours with this section, and see you again.